All right, hey, today I got Eric Suarez with me. Eric, got you on today, so give you a little bit of time. First, go ahead and tell everybody who you are and give us a little bio of yourself, where you come from.
Yeah, Kenny, thanks for having me on today. Like you said, I'm Eric Suarez, retired Marine, retired in 2016, and moved back here to Athens, Alabama to have a support structure for my wife and kids after being gone so much and traveling around on the military side. It was important for us to come back and kind of reconnect and be close to family. So moved that back here, like most retired Marines or people who get out, the veterans that kind of have a hard time trying to find a job or what they want to do next. And Remington was here close by, applied for a couple of jobs and finally got hired on as the head gunsmith for the R&D section. So got hired on in November of 2016 and was over there building a lot of prototypes, all the guns that would go out to the media and the writers, and including yourself. I probably sent you some guns back in the day.
Yeah.
Then I did some executive media events and was asked to go over to the public relations side. So I kind of took the opportunity, like I've done so many times in my military career, and jumped ship. It was a good change of pace. It gave me the gunsmith job was a job, not a career. I didn't really know where to go from there, and not a lot of upward mobility. But the PR realm was able to open up some horizons, and I got some very good mentorship from individuals around the industry and within our walls. And here we are today. So today, I own my own PR firm. Started about a month ago after leaving Remington, and just kind of want to help brands visualize their PR goals and working with media and stuff. And it's just been a great ride.
Yeah, well, good deal. We're starting to kind of go back and punt a little bit. What your time in Marines? What'd you do in the Marines? Didn't you tell me you was a cook one time, or I'm just messing?
No, I don't think I was a cook. I've had plenty of jobs though. So being in the military, you typically go in and, well, you're kind of an anomaly as well. You've had way more than one job, but most people go in and they have a job and they grow in that job and they spend 20, some people spend 30 years in one MOS in the military. And I did not. I kind of tell people I had an ADD career. I started off, I was supposed to be aviation electronics technician, and the Marine Corps decided that wasn't going to be for me. I was going to go out to 29 Palms and become an aviation radio repair guy. So went out there and was able to obtain 3 MOSs. And then literally after being in school for a year, they decided, hey, we're going to start the Stinger missile program back up. So you're going to Huntsville, Alabama to learn how to repair and operate Stinger missiles.
Oh, yeah, so, Redstone.
Yeah. So I did that and got to deploy during the first Iraq invasion. Got back. Computers weren't a big thing, so I couldn't get a boat space. I couldn't re-enlist. So my buddy and I went over to our monitors, and some people would call them detailers in different services, and was able to go over to the satellite communication side. So that was a really good jump for me, just technical wise and of that sort. So I did satellite communications for a while, and then went over to signals intelligence and working with a lot of 3-letter agencies, just learning how to use the networks, and then tactically employment of those systems in theater. And then towards the end of my time, I got recruited to go over to Marine Special Operations Command, where I spent my last close to 6.5, 7 years. Did team time, and then got to go to a bunch of advanced schools, and ended up being a training and evaluation chief for all MARSOC communicators in the Marine Corps.
So, nice. Have you wrote a book yet?
Nope, no book. I'm not that person.
Seem like all y'all spec op guys, and right. Like somebody asked me, why didn't you go into SEALs, man? I said, I'm not good at writing. I have to have an editor for everything I do, even my outdoor stuff. I said, I don't have a good PR guy no more. I said, so, I couldn't do special operations no more.
No, and it is. Sometimes you think about it, though, man. You're like, man, if I had a book, I think, at this point, I think some of these people write books just so their kids can pick something up down the road and be man, this is what my dad did. And I get it now. I mean, my kids now are 7 and 11, and they were super young. Like, my oldest learned how to ride his bicycle at a hotel at Fort Bragg because I was up at school there for, 6-7 months. So like he remembers that. But as far as other deployments and things I've done, when they're older, they're not going to know exactly what Dad did.
Yeah. But give me a little insight. I'm not going to get into no classified stuff or not, but definitely some people, I think there's confusion in it. Can you explain the difference between a Marine Recon and Marine Raider and what the difference is between those two, spec op sides of the house?
Yeah, so the biggest difference is MARSOC belongs to SOCOM, which is obviously Special Operations Command itself. It's just a completely different mission set where Marine Force Recon and the reconnaissance battalions belong to battalion commanders in support of their mission. So there's no, in our schools, we have recon guys come through our schools, and MARSOC guys go to other schools. They'll go to Ranger School, just like a recon guy has the ability to go to Ranger School or any of the jump schools or any of the advanced schools throughout the services. At the end of the day, not one guy is better than the other. Every one of those guys are cross-trained and subject matter experts in a specific skill, but yet have tasks and can execute tasks across a wide range of platforms. At the end of the day, it's just who they get their orders from.
Yeah, and that so it depends on kind of what their mission is. So, like you said, the MARSOC guys do this type of mission, and then the recon guys do this type of mission. They can still cross-train and be, professionals, across the platform as far as schools and stuff go. But when they come back to the unit again or to their team, they're dedicated to a set type of mission sets that they would run. That makes sense?
Correct.
Am I
yep, totally.
So that's what I was telling somebody that the other day, not about the MARSOC stuff, but just the cross branches. Because WTC Warrior Training Center at Fort Benning, Georgia, which has, the Air Assault, Airborne, Pathfinder, Ranger Trainer Brigade there, most of the instructors there, if not 90% of them, are all National Guard guys. And now that 90%, most of them are Alabama National Guard guys from the 4th Alabama 167th or the 173rd Infantry Battalion. So then they do a 3-year rotation mission there. And I was telling somebody, there's, Marines send people to the Army Airborne School. I said they send people to the Army Ranger School. I said they got the sniper course, the scuba courses. I said it's, once you get to that level, it's just a course. It's not, the Army sniper, the Marine sniper, whatever. It's really just, who's doing. You're still learning the same fundamentals and it's the same class and the same stuff, no matter what it is. And I was explaining that to them, and they really thought there was each branch had their own, set. Everybody in Marine had an airborne school. Air Force had an airborne school, Navy had an airborne school. And I'm like, that's not really how it typically works. Not that there's not courses, but I said the Army Airborne School, has people across the branches, come through it. So it's
it just consolidates a means to the end. So for us, I went through Army Airborne School at Fort Benning, and I guess the main difference between, most of the Army recruits, because a lot of guys, my brother is a retired SF guy at 7th Group as well. So we talk about it all the time, but we picked him up at boot camp because he went to Benning. He was an 18 X-ray, and then literally dropped him off at airborne check-in. And then at, 7, 8 o'clock at night after check-in, he went. But when he went through as an Army recruit going through airborne, it's an eyes wide open, just got out of recruit training and holy crap, what's going on? And like some of those guys still act, some of the black hats, they still act like drill sergeants or drill instructors, where the Marines that go through there, most of us, I went through, I was already in for 10, 11 years. I think I was 10 years in. So, you're really the only Marines going there are recon Marines, JTACs, riggers, and, MARSOC guys. So, there's very few Marines that are going there that are just going there to have fun. Like the Marine Corps spends money on it, and you're going there for a specific qualification. So
yeah, somebody's got paid for it. So
yeah, for sure.
If somebody's paid for it, there's got to be a reason.
Yep. So I would say, I won't say, I definitely know we got treated better, but we weren't given special treatment. We still ran everywhere, and we still waited at chow hall at 4 a.m. or whatever the case was. Like training is training, but after the fact, the black hats and stuff will come over, and we would talk and stuff. But they're the same age we were, and we had more in common with them. So
yeah. And I was explaining.
But it's funny though.
Brother.
There's some. we had some good times, and I definitely had some good laughs.
Oh yeah. Well, my brother's gonna be like your brother. He enlisted in 20th group. He's going straight from basic to airborne there at Fort Benning, and I'm trying to give him some brotherly counseling, but it's all good for you. So I think they'll be all right. But
He can keep his feet and knees together. He'll be just fine.
Yeah, get the PLF out, airborne, and and go with it. So, but so history. So I would kind of want to dig in that a little bit to say that because you do a lot of stuff in the outdoor industry now, and I think a lot of your military career, like mine, kind of set you up for success in knowledge and skill set and work ethic maybe for one as well. But you're, like I was telling you earlier, we'll get in some gun question here a little bit. You're a lot more ballistic savvy than I am, and I'm a gun guy, but I'm not a gun guy. Where when I have ballistic questions, I call and ask you, hey, what's the deal with this and that, and I think a lot of that sets you up for success. To have the knowledge and the skill set to continue on even after your career, in the Marines. Like you said, you went to Remington and was a gunsmith for a while. And then you got into the PR and the marketing, side of the house on that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the military absolutely is what you make of it. So to be quite honest with anyone who might be listening, might have a similar story. I grew up in Northeast Philadelphia. I didn't apply myself in school. I was a very good athlete in baseball and football. Junior year, broke my shoulder, had to have surgery. Well, all my sports were gone my senior year. Hung out with older guys, started drinking and partying. That was kind of my life. And then, I found out graduation day I was going to graduate. So I was 17 and I was young, and no one in my family has ever gone to college. And my mom and dad were dead set on, me be the first person to college. And I think that day when I was 17, I had to sit down and have a talk with myself. It was like, hey man, what are you going to do in life? Cause this ain't it. So, I decided to go to military. I had a cousin who was a SEAL, and my grandfather was a Marine, and my dad was a corpsman who was attached to Marines. And, so, the military heritage is kind of strong in my family. And, I kind of did what a lot of people do. I didn't know what service I exactly wanted to go in. And, I kind of scouted them out, and I had a recruiter the Marine recruiter, actually sat down and said, look, man, like, I know you want to do cool things. I talked to the Army about being an airborne ranger, and I love the adventure of life. And then, believe it or not, it was the Marine recruiter who sat down with me. He was like, dude, you can't be a Marine forever. What are you going to do in life? I was like, holy crap, man. Like, this guy's talking to me right now.
Yeah.
So, so that's why I didn't originally go in an infantry MOS or something like that. Not that I didn't want to. I absolutely did. I wanted that thrill. And, everything happens for a reason. And I always was able to take opportunities presented to me to progress my career. I got to be in a bunch of leadership positions that kind of helped me build me as a man. Never did I think that I just turned 40 last month, that, we'd be in our forever house and I have 2 kids and start my own business, and my wife's got a good job, and none of those things, but it takes sacrifice and takes hard work. Back over to your leadership question, I think that our time in the military grooms us to be men and leaders that we are in the civilian world. And just been trying to, take the bull by the horns and carve out a little niche for, myself. And at the same time, mentoring people all the time, because the military side, it's just not all about you. It's about mentorship. So you got to take the opportunities and identify people that could use your help and give back to them.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think so. Even when you went into the PR world, we'll step into that now. PR and marketing and setups. A lot of people would always, and I'm not the perfect person 100%, but I've always been able to talk to people since a young age. And even though I might be a country boy, might mumble a little bit, I had no issue talking to, even now, colonels, majors. I got a 3-star coming next week I got to talk to. So, and that just translates into the civilian world. I got no issue talking to CEOs or marketers or, people in industries that's, and you can carry on conversation with them. And at a young age, people were kind of impressed by that. Well, this person, this kid can carry on a conversation with us. And, it's not and not being direct or, whatever. And I think a lot of that translates into that. So even though you didn't have a lot of the PR market experience, You're an instructor for one, which I've done that. That gives you a lot of up in front experience as far as talking and going over stuff, and teacher and the mentorship, and a lot of that also carried over into your next role at Remington, which is what you're trying to accomplish now with your new company is being able to be out in front, being able to mentor, being able to groom companies, being able to product and have a knowledge set. So kind of talk about the PR marketing world on that side. Not just the military, but how that works and the things that you could do with SHOT Shows and events and magazines and stuff like that.
Yeah, so to be fair, I guess we'll go back to how it all started. I got to go to Gun Sight, and we did a huge, what's that, it was in 2017? 2016. No, 2017, I'm sorry. So 2017, we did a huge writers event out at Gun Sight, and they wanted to bring, we obviously represented AAC suppressors, and we wanted to bring the 240 machine gun. So they needed somebody to run the 240. So they kind of like, everyone's looking at the room, and I was like, I think I can handle this.
Yeah, I
can. So I go out there and so we went out there and we had a good time, and I came back, and my manager at the time, Jessica, was like, "Man, you have a real knack for PR." And I was like, "So I got to tell you, Jessica, like, I don't like people." And she was like, "No, that's fine. I don't really like people either, but it's not about being a people person. It's about being relatable, giving them the information they needed in a timely manner, and helping them complete the mission they need to do, which it could be a story or a video or whatever the case is." So I said, "Oh, okay." She's like, "Well, if we ever have an opening, I want you to keep that in mind." So fast forward about 6 months, we had a new VP come in, and we did an executive long range shooting event. So we really didn't know people didn't know how to really accomplish this. And I said, "Guys, it all comes down to planning." Back to the military, right? We plan for everything. So I said, let's get the whiteboard. What is our end goal? How do we back plan this? And then what are the wickets or milestones we need to hit? They're like, "Oh my goodness." So we go out there and we set all the guns up all morning. And I mean, we had our head HR of all of Remington out there, and she's never shot past 50 yards before, ringing steel at 1,000. So it's all about just grooming and having the confidence to give somebody else the confidence to execute something. So he turned around, and our VP of sales and marketing came back and said, "Hey, I think we're going to have a job open in a couple of weeks. You need to put in for it." So kind of had the same talk with him, like, I'm not really a people person. So I keep saying that, but what it comes down to, it comes down to being real in PR, especially in the outdoor industry. Our outdoor industry is unlike the off-road industry or the pharmaceutical industry or anything else, where everything is very programmatic and very computer-based. Our outdoor industry is really based off of your legacy. Like when someone says Kenny Corder, is he a stand-up guy, or is he a guy you don't want to do business with? Is he a shady guy that's going to throw somebody under the bus, or is he a guy who's going to bend over backwards to help you no matter what? Yeah. And so not unlike the military, it comes down to being transparent, caring about somebody, and fostering good relationships. That's been the best thing over the last 6 weeks or so of me talking to people and talking to CEOs, and people are like, "Wow, you're pretty well put together." And yet, yes, I've had those experiences, but at the end of the day, it's easy to be put together and easy to talk to somebody when you're not lying or you're not trying to sell them something. So I think that's the biggest thing, is just it's all about relationships.
Yeah, and it's still I think it's still a grassroots level type deal where you still go off a handshake and word of mouth, and a lot of that stuff in reputation, precedes either good or bad, on that kind of way.
Yeah, and what I've seen a lot too is, I don't have a marketing degree. I had aspirations of being a DEA agent when I got out of the military. And after working with some DEA fast teams over in Afghanistan and, being beat up and hurt, like that was no longer in my cards. So, but, coming back to the marketing and the PR side, it is what it is. Just be yourself, and, being able to be technically savvy. Some of these people come out of college and they have these marketing degrees and PR degrees, and that's all fine. But if you don't understand and can't relate to when you would call and say, "Hey, how does this V3 work? Why will it shoot, the 7/8 ounce loads, but X brand doesn't?" "Oh, because of this, this, and this." Those relationships and that ability to convey the technical specs back to a relatable subject, I think goes a long way in our industry.
Oh, I agree. I think, and you need to be able to relate with if you're pushing a product, pushing a company, you need to find a way to yourself relate to what that is. And if you invest yourself in something like that, then when you speak on it to other people, I feel other people, they can sense your genuineness in it. You're not reading off a card, or you're not, you don't have the slideshow memorized in your head. You're really talking, through the product or through whatever it is. So. And to say all that to say now you have your own business, Red Cell Media, which is, like you said, you officially kicked off now, and you're working for your own. I know you still do some instructing and some coaching on the side and travel the country doing that. But tell us about Red Cell Media.
Yeah, so I guess a month before Remington's bankruptcy thing got finalized, I kind of had to sit down with my wife, and we had talked about, like, man, what's the plan? So like we talked about before, I pull my benefits from the military, so it gives me some leadway of where I want to go in life. And we talked, and I was like, man, I'm tired of working for somebody. At the end of the day, I said, like 4 years at Remington was really about 12. Some people don't see a bankruptcy, or especially being in the midst of communicating to media people or to others, news agencies that are asking questions and stuff.
Yeah.
But I lived through 2 on the PR side, so. So just understanding that, and then working for the military is it's a young man's game at the end of the day. As you start understanding how political things can get, especially the higher levels in the SOCOM area specifically, which is totally understandable, because you messing up on a target can have international consequences and second and third order consequences that, could last for years and years.
Yeah.
So just understanding that aspect of it, I was like, I just want to work for myself. And my wife was like, well, why talk about it? Why don't you just do it? So, so that's what we're doing. We're going out on my own, and currently looking for brands to work with. I've kind of set myself up, and, people don't want to talk about money, but I figured out, what's comfortable for me. And I'm going to base that off of the brands that I represent. So I don't want any more than, I don't want more brands that I can support that takes the whatever amount of time it is. PR is not a 9-to-5 job. It's a 6 in the morning. It might be a 3 o'clock in the morning because someone's got a problem with a gun on a mountainside and they're able to text you about it.
Yeah.
Because, they just paid $4,000, $7,000 for a hunt, and now they have an issue. So, or it's, writers who are very creative or content generators that, have, thoughts at 2 a.m. and we're texting back and forth. So I want to make myself available at any time for both my brand and the writers that I support. And I kind of want to come at it from a different approach that maybe some others have. So like I said, I'm looking for just a few brands, and I want to dedicate myself to them. And I want to, if no one knows that I helped, but the brand's reputation is, increasing and gaining speed, and they're getting what they want, then that's what's important for me. Like, I don't need all the accolades of look at Red Cell Media did. I'm more into, are you meeting your marketing and your PR goals specifically? And then however we accomplish that, then that's the mission, and we're good. And I think that's what's kind of lost a little bit on the PR side.
So tell me on that, what exactly, I hate to use the word packages, but what products is Red Cell Media going to have available for these companies? Like show setup, social media stuff, like what kind of stuff are you providing?
So specifically, we will do day-to-day media liaison, whether that's talking to writers, building storylines, or even talking within the brands themselves, from the marketing managers to the brand product managers of what their story needs to be. Because let's face it, it's not all about launches. We're going to do launches. If you're launching a new product and Red Cell Media, you want to hire us to come in and help you with your new product launch, which could be, content generation. Say, well, we're not going to SHOT Show this year. So say SHOT Show 2022, you want to launch something there, and you want media to hit. So let's formulate a plan to have both digital and print, along with advertising, all launch at one time. Mm-hmm. So that way you can kind of lead a build up, and then boom, here you go. And then you can follow that on with Facebook Lives or Instagram Reels or whatever the case is through the week. But that also goes with press releases and any of that function. So a lot of day-to-day contact with industry professionals, yourself as content generator and writers, and then between the brand, let's figure out what story you want to tell, or maybe you have stuck inventory. How do we revive that stuck inventory to make it relevant? Because maybe, it just fell off but you have, 3,000 sitting in the warehouse that you need to move. Well, that's not a problem. Let's build some buzz around it and let's get that product moving for you. At the end of the day, sales and marketing is all the same. We're here to sell product, and that's what's important. We also can plan, execute full logistics of writer and media events. So if you want to go out the gun site and we want to bring writers in, you want to do that, then that's fine. Let's do it. If you want to just set up some hunts with some media, then let's do that. Really, the world is wide open. Nothing needs to fit inside the box. You want to put together a long-range shooting school and then couple that with a field-to-table event with some of the partners that I already have, then, give me a call and let's figure out how we can do it.
Yeah, and I think that's a cool thing in your side, and I think a lot of the media event stuff, they incorporate more than one company, so everybody kind of shares a little bit of the financial load. Everybody kind of pushes a product, so it kind of becomes a lifestyle event, right? So you may have a hunting event where you're going to go duck hunting like I've done with y'all before, and all right, so you got the duck hunting. Well, all right, what about everybody's gonna have duck clothes or hunting clothes, right? Why can't we incorporate another outdoor clothing company? All right. Well, everybody likes, sunglasses. Why can't we find a sunglass company that wants to do promotion as well? Talk about their polarized and their ballistics, stuff like that, and make it an event where, and where you're at, you're kind of the linkage between all that. You coordinate, you set up, you figure everything out, you promote it, you get everybody there, you do logistics like you're saying, and you meet the need that everybody was intending. And it's a multiple lifestyle event. For us in the outdoor world, a lifestyle event, is hunting, fishing, riding, whatever, but it incorporates so many things just in that. It's not just a gun. It's not just, a clothing or sunglasses, everything's got multiple facets to it. So I think using somebody like Red Cell Media, your company, to coordinate that and reach out with other brands and link stuff up and get those, relationships. I always say relationships over sponsorships, but get those relationships going, really benefit everybody in general.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head right there. When I came on, we used to do media events a much different way. And I think it's important to recognize the writers in our industry and understand that where 5-8 years ago, writers belong specifically to a magazine, and that's all they wrote for. Well, nowadays it's gone to this freelance-based stuff. So those writers have to work. They're working on articles. So if you're able to bring them into an event and have complementing brands supporting each other there, then, that one writer could get 4 or 5 articles, maybe 6 articles out of that one event. And it's not over the top. It's not, there's not too much involved. So they kind of get lost on like, hey, what's the priority? But now you're speaking to them, because now if a writer can come in for 4 days, maybe even 5 days, depending on what the event is, and then they're able to turn around but go home and write 5, 6, 7 stories on some, it's twofold. One, they're making money, and that's what they do because they need to make a living and they have bills and families to support. But on the other side, you're able really to get what you need out of it. Do you want digital or do you want print? If it's print, then you're not going to see it for maybe 6 to 9 months. If it's digital, then you can have a splash now. But now we can, use these writers and arm them and their abilities to do what they do professionally to really cover both spaces. So you can get a splash now or 2 with, some digital editorial, and then follow it up with a bigger feature story, maybe somewhere else in 6 to 9 months. And it works well. So the adage that I've come into PR with since from day one was the right writers in the right environment with the right product. And then that should equal a positive experience. At the end of the day, each product needs to stand up on its own. So if something doesn't work right, then maybe there's something to be looked at there. But the hope is that the right writers with the right product in the right environment, they're leaving there with an overly positive experience. And then that emotionally charges them to go back and write good articles, good material on the products they use during those events.
Yeah, and I think that's good stuff. And even then, rising tide, all the ships thing. I really enjoy I have written before, and I've written for Remington and other companies before, and I really enjoy that, and the social media aspect. I kind of straddle the fence on that, and even on the social media world as far as that goes, saying the same thing is you're going to have a good bleed over spillage, but in a good way. Because everything's they may be right if they're still doing Instagram posts or still doing stuff, and there's a hunt going on right now that a friend of ours is putting on in Texas, today, which has a lot of companies involved in it,
Yep.
and somebody's posting a picture of them with their calls, but then they're also tagging the shotgun that they're getting used. They're also tagging the hunting clothes they're getting to wear. They're also tagging the location they're at, the site that's putting it on, and so every brand is getting spillage promotional from other brands at the same time. And I think that really helps out too.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kenny, go ahead.
Yeah, you're fine. I think that's a good thing too.
Yeah. So, I mean, we used to talk in-house on, how do we talk outside our own tribe? We have our customers and they're loyal customers and they're really loyal to our brands and stuff. But if you're constantly talking to that same person, they're either going to move on or at some point they just won't be a customer. And even if they do stay a customer for 80, 90 years, you want their kids and their grandkids to be customers of yours as well. So how do you do that? And that social media sharing and all of that is the way to go, especially if you can cross industry spaces. So I know we've done events before. We had a firearm company with an optics company and, sunglass company, but the sunglass company really isn't in the firearms business industry. Yeah. So boom. But now their people are like, oh man, check this out. This was cool. Or, we've brought in off-road companies before as well. And, that crossover. So it's all about how can we spread the word. And lately I've been working with some people on the hunting side of, where are we getting these new hunters from? Where are they going to come from? And, the only way we're going to be able to do it is by giving people new experiences that want to draw them in. So, there's definitely a bright future and there's a lot going on. And I think a lot of people on the social side, on social media are looking for that magic pill. And I think they're sad. They find out the hard way that there is no magic pill on social media. No. Social media supports your PR functions. And I do believe that, PR kind of leads it. We always worked with, if someone's spending money on advertising, well, you need to understand what that advertising spend is because you need to understand what you're getting from those partners, and your PR function should be supporting your advertising spend. And conversely, on the other side, the social media aspect should be supporting your PR side. So you have one message being communicated and you're able to get everything out and spread the love.
Almost like a supplement, the social media supplementing to the PR or, as an additive to, get the end goal still going. You're taking all the mediums, social media, writing, all that good stuff through your PR, and it's all pieces of the puzzle that get it to where it needs to go. There's not one magic bullet.
No, because how are you getting the content? I mean, that's a big thing with social. Like, if you want to post 4 or 5 times a day, that's fine. But where are you coming up with the amount of content needed to support that?
Content people want to see.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you come up with that? How do you start, and then down the road start looking at analytics and saying, okay, well, our best times are from this time to this time on this day. Maybe it's a Tuesday and a Saturday at 8 p.m. And you're like, oh man, I didn't see that coming. But I mean, now you're able to leverage the writers that you work with. And that's what I did at Remington. Like, hey, so-and-so wrote an article. Well, they might've taken 50 photos for that article, but the editor only picked up 2 photos. So what are you doing with the other 48? Oh, well, you own your own kind of media company that does editorial stuff because you're a freelancer. Well, why don't you give me the other 48 photos? Helps me populate my content for social. And then we put your name, obviously, as photo credit on theirs. But now people who follow, their site or their hashtags, now, you're starting to spread that a little bit. So, or when we're on media events and we have a complete writers event, we're able to have a whole host of photos. Well, now you have that to use for your content generation. When you go do hunts, where are all those photos going? People just kind of put it on their personal pages. But why not use that to then turn around and gain content for your brand and then get it out that way as well? So,
yeah, and I think that like for you, I have a specific Dropbox just for you, and I would take all my extra photos. Not that they're bad photos, but they didn't fit the story that I was trying to tell. But I still had some really good photos or videos or whatever. I just put them in Dropbox. Said, hey, use these as you will. Whenever y'all would, post them, then it would tag me in it along with the products I was using. And like for that specific, a lot of those I was using, the firearms, but I was also, wearing one company's products, another company's products. And so then you had this bigger company posting something, but it was like we was talking about engaging other companies at the same time. And I think it's just a great way to keep relationships going. And like we was just talking about, I think we've really, really hit that on the head.
Yeah. And I want to say that's how you and I mean, when we met a short couple years ago, that's kind of one of the first conversations we had, like, hey, why don't you provide us this stuff and we'll go ahead and reshare it out.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, like, people don't always want a perfect photo on social because they know it was paid for. They want some more photos that are just real life. I mean, there's some fantastic photos where it could just be a sunset. You don't have to have a firearm in it, or it could be, something funny where someone fell in a creek or whatever the case is. I mean, people want what's real, and they just don't always want to be spoon-fed something that was just staged.
That's right. And so, I mean, everything you're saying, you've really hit everything as far as showing, the experience you have and how you know how to work around everything for your new company. And I think, like I said, you're just getting started off, and 2021 is literally a couple of weeks around the corner. So it's going to be pretty exciting to see what y'all do with the companies that y'all have come in and the relationships y'all build with them.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I think, it's sad that we're not having SHOT Show because it's always a good time to go catch up with everybody and see what all the new products are. But I really think right now, with the money being saved on not going to SHOT Show, whether it's just logistics or booth space or whatever the case is, there's a huge opportunity in our industry to make a splash on the PR side that, again, you can contribute back to an ROI on what's being spent. So,
which is return on investment for those who don't know.
Return.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, when people spend money, they want to understand what they're getting in return. It's just the basics. Everyone, it doesn't matter if you're going to buy broccoli at the store, or you're going to buy a new car, you want to understand what you're getting for your money. And no time like right now is everyone kind of watching what they're spending and really understanding and taking measured approach to spending money. So we are super excited for 2021. And I know you and I will have many talks probably. we talk almost weekly at this point.
Yeah.
So, but it's fun. I like throwing ideas, and I don't have answers for everything. And I go and I ask mentors around the industry that I call almost daily on, hey, what's this, what's that? And anyone who tells you that they know everything, that's probably not the person you want to work with.
That's right.
So, everybody needs a mentor. So we're super excited, and I'm eternally grateful for you for having me on.
If we can bring one positive thing out of all this, it's that maybe SHOT Show will be moved outside of hunting season, because that's what, it just needs to happen one year. And I'm hoping now we'll look at May time frame of 2021. That's the whole reason because I've never been to SHOT Show. I've gotten invites the last several years, and me and Hollis Lumpkin were actually talking about this on our podcast a couple of days ago. It's like maybe now they'll just push it till after all the hunting seasons are over, and then not everybody feels so, do I miss a week of hunting season, or do I go to a SHOT Show?
You're not wrong. Especially for the brands and manufacturers.
That's 2 weeks.
You go to NASGW, towards the end of the year, and it's right in the middle of hunting season, and then everyone. Now, I won't say everybody, but just about everybody is a hunter within, our industry of what we're doing, or they're trying to put together classes and stuff. And, I couldn't agree with you more, because everyone hits Christmas and New Year's and they're like, oh, family time. And then, some people leave the first week of January and they're not really home till March because of show season.
Yeah.
So, it taxes everybody. And at the same time, you're trying to get production going through Q1 and understand what your sales were and all that. So, I don't disagree with you at all. I hope they do find a different time slot to fit that in.
Yeah. And if you knew that was more of your Q3 budget, also, I think it'd benefit people a little ahead of time to see what they've spent the first 2 quarters and give a little bit left for the last quarter, something like that as well. All right, so I can't let you go without getting a little gun knowledge from you. So, uh, like I said earlier, I'm a gun guy, but I'm not that gun guy. I have a lot of guns, and I sling a lot of lead, and actually I sling a lot of non-toxic stuff now. We'll get into that another day. But my lead level's been a little high the last couple of years, so I'm trying to lower them down. Spend a lot of time on the range, but the everybody hates on the 5.56, and you and I have these topics, and I mean, if you're shooting it through the barrel size it's meant to go through, it's a fantastic round that you can do a lot with. It'll do a lot more than people realize it'll do. But one of the age-old topics I want to get your opinion on this, or your subject matter expert on this, is zero into 5.56. What do you zero one at for yourself? Do you do it at 50 yards? You do it at 38? I mean, what do you do?
All right, so there's advantages and disadvantages to everything in life, whether we're talking about a gun or a pen. Let's start off with that. So I believe you need to understand what you're trying to do with the platform. If you have a low variable power optic, you're shooting a 1-8 or a 1-10 optic.
Yeah,
then
which
you
is
need
very
to
popular
understand
now.
Yes, because you're able to do the close-up stuff, and with 10 power, you can really reach out. So first off, read the manual of the optic that you're using. So if you're using the LVPO, the low variable power optic, then it's probably going to be 100-yard zero, because all your data is going to be based off of that 100-yard zero. Mm-hmm. If it's a red dot, personally, red dot 5.56 or even 300 blackout for me, I'm zeroing at 50 yards. So my 50-yard zero allows me to accurately hit from 0 to 3 without making any other adjustments through my red dot. So if you're using the old school iron sights, which a lot of people out there still shoot iron sights and they like to shoot them, then obviously typically that's your 300-yard zero or your 36 yards or whatever that case is. So that's kind of what I would say to that.
And that's, a lot of people realize, even the low power optic, 5.56 with the 16-inch barrel at 600 yards. I mean, that's a 60-inch hold almost. Over it sometimes. So people got, like you said, realize, study whatever optic they're good. Need to realize the round will do it. It'll do it all day.
And
you gotta know what you're doing.
I think ammo, for sure, and ammo selection. What are you trying to do with that ammo? Obviously, if it's a home defense, if it's a home defense, then maybe that green tip isn't what you need, and maybe something more frangible that could break up through walls and stuff. In the event that you do not hit your target, is more of what you want. The understanding, and that's why I go back to understanding the platform, what you're trying to do with the platform, and then from there, how are you going to execute that platform? So what is your ammunition selection going to be? What is your optic selection going to be? You can't go wrong with reading the manual. Personally, a lot of guys they build guns and they just put whatever optics on they can either afford or what they find, or they're going after a specific build that they want to do, which is all fine. We've talked about this before. I'm a very utilitarian person.
That's right.
So my two hunting guns, one's a 300 Winchester short mag, a Wisdom, and then the other one's a 6.5 Creedmoor. They both have the same optics on them because I'm a keep it simple, stupid type of guy, and I've got the one optic that I use on both of my hunting guns. I understand the math in them. I understand the layout and what it does for me. So I'd rather be a master of one gun than somebody who just shoots a lot.
And that brings up another point as far as knowing what your intent is, right? Like I really have no need for 600-yard, 5.56 shots, around the area. So that's why, and you're talking about, new rifle for me to build, looking at, 11.5-inch barrel. Cause I can still pretty comfortable at 300, with that, with a 5.56. If you do push pressure on it, it's not so obnoxious moving around with it. It's not like trying to clear rooms with a musket, which I felt like I've done before with some older shotgun, older rifles. Like my first rifle was M16A4 that I got issued. And man, you talk about cleared rooms with it. It was 1.5 pounds heavier than the A2, and just felt like you had a musket going through there, like you need to pour powder in and stuff, man. So once we went to the carbines, I was like, hey, I'm sold. I'm not needing to make those shots over 3 hills anymore. So I think knowing what your intent is a big deal.
For sure. And I've got 5.56 guns, and it all comes down to purpose. So I've got a 7.5-inch gun that literally with a 20 round magazine fits inside my backpack.
Yep.
If I need to go somewhere, my all around 5.56 gun is a 14.5 inch. And I typically don't suppress that, but it's kind of like my do everything type gun.
Yeah.
And then really at the 300 yards, because maybe 400, but after that, I can start going to bolt guns, or I've got 6.5 Grendel, I've got a 308 AR. So I kind of build my plan based around my needs and understanding which platform excels at what distances, and then I kind of start that way.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. And then we're kind of getting close to time here, but I want to ask you kind of one more as an all around, and I think you alluded to it a minute ago, but what is your favorite kind of long distance round now? Or what's your go-to round now if you're either going to go do some 1,000-yard planking or go hunting, or kind of want a longer distance high power round? What's your go-to now?
Probably like most people who seems to be on the bandwagon, I've been shooting a lot of 6.5 Creedmoor over the last probably 4 years.
It's just a straight round. I mean, it's smooth. It really is.
I have a really nice 308 bolt gun. It's a Remington 700 SPS back from the mid 2000s, in a mag full stock. And that thing is a very, very good shooting gun. But I mean, the 6.5 Creedmoor, especially, I usually run all my bolt guns suppressed, or my long range guns. Just the repeatability. I've been able to take it out to Colorado, dope it out to 1,000, bring it back here, put it in a tripod, dial it up, and let my 7 and 11-year-olds hit center mass hits at 500 yards with not a lot of effort. And then turn around and, get first shot hits out in Utah at a course at 1,028 with that same gun, and then bring it back. And then, it's just not my gun. We just shot 6.5 Creedmoors at a field to table event. I was teaching that 2 weeks ago, and we doped it for 100, did the math, figured out what the MOA was, raised it up. First round was low at 1,000, and then second round through fifth round were all hits at 1,000 yards. So, and we're not talking huge targets. There are 3 MOA, so they are a little bigger, but I mean, we shot a good group, and then dialed, and then on the third round at 1650 made hits. Now, is that, effective muzzle velocity at the end for terminal ballistics? No, but were we still able to hit the target, given everything that we had? Absolutely. So the ability for that round to have good recoil management for a younger shooter is a huge proponent, especially if it's suppressed. The availability of all the major manufacturers having both hunting and precision rounds. There's not a need to reload. I don't reload any of my 6.5 Creedmoors, and I have not felt that the ammo provided wasn't good enough to make hits on target.
See, that's why I say I'm a gun guy, but you're the gun guy. See, there's gonna be people listen to this with thinking, do I need an engineering degree to understand MOA and dope engine? And I'm telling you, I make fun of Marines all the time, which I'm in the Army, so I can. We can make fun of, we can make fun of each other, or nobody else just make fun of us. So if it's not drawn with a crayon, I usually can't understand it. But I mean, you definitely have a knowledge base I think supports you in the industry. That's for sure.
No, I really appreciate it. I get pretty passionate. Coming from where I wasn't a trained sniper, so I got to shoot long range guns, and I got to sit in sniper hides and be behind it. But my primary focus was my M4 and my sidearm. So I did a lot of that, and then through injuries and stuff, I can't run and gun like I used to. I still go out and I still shoot every once in a while, but I just can't do it. But after getting on with Remington and helping out with some of the long range platforms that we came out with during my time there, and I kind of just got bitten by the bug of long range, and it's something that's new, and it pushes you because every day is something different. I'll be the first one to tell you, I am terrible at calling wind. I try at it. I try to get as much time behind spotting scopes. It's just something that I haven't been able to master. And that's the beauty of long range, that at the end of the day, it's all about you. If the equipment can do it, which a lot of factory equipment now is more than capable of doing anything you ever want to do with that firearm, it comes down to you. Did you slap the trigger? Did you not have a good cheek weld? Did you not have good forward pressure? Did you not put the buttstock in your shoulder the right way? Did you mount the optic, at a cant, which then gives you error at distance. So did you input the data into the ballistic computer wrong, which then garbage in, garbage out? So there's no one to blame but you. And I like being able to be responsible for whether, I win or lose.
That's right.
And then if I do lose and I fail, if I fail, it's fine. Let me understand why I fail. Let's find out that failure point, and then let's learn from it and then improve.
Good deal. That's a lot of knowledge there, buddy. So I appreciate it. And we're kind of getting close to time on here. So I'm going to go ahead and just put it out and say I appreciate your time out here and I appreciate your knowledge. And I look forward to seeing what Red Cell Media is going to do in the future.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. And, I appreciate your friendship and, can't wait to see what the future holds.
All right, babe. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.